Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeah The Dees, where I'm going through our win against the Tigers for round 20 of the 2023 season at the MCG. What a game, what a fun game to watch. A great contest across 4 quarters, high scoring, high pressure, finals like, elite displays of skill, some fantastic clunk marking, just a really, really, really impressive 20-goal performance from the boys in the red and blue. That's our third 20-goal performance for the year after our demolition of North in round 7 and a really hectic competitive game with Sydney in round 3. Before that, the last time we kicked 20 goals or more was the 2021 grand final. So we've got 4 wins on the trot now, and we're looking a lot better now at 13-6 than we did 4 weeks ago when we were 9-6 after that disappointing loss to GWS. Huge props to Simon Goodwin for a really courageous team selection. You know, dropping Grundy a couple of weeks ago was, a shock to the football media, and it's been dominating the media stories ever since. Hasn't that paid off with Max Gawn being incredible over the last 3 weeks? Petty forward, I'm definitely in the Petty is great back camp. I just find it gives me so much peace of mind and opens up Stephen May and Jake Lever, which is Adam Tomlinson's been able to do the last couple of weeks. That allowed Petty to go forward and just play like he did, and it's Neats-like. It's incredible. I love it. And then Van Rooyen's kind of Schwartz-like, so it's just giving me these 90s flashbacks. And having a look at that lineup, it's, got probably the best chemistry going at the moment, or at least forward of the ball at the moment. And it's incredible to see that we're missing Hibberd, Brown, Grundy, Tom McDonald, Charlie Spargo, Tom Sparrow, Bailey Fritsch, Clayton Oliver, all from that lineup, and it's functioning so well. It just shows how deep our list is and how much talent we have performing at a high end to create pressure for spots. Yeah, it was such a great time to be a Melbourne supporter. You have a look down that list and you've got Trent Rivers, Judd McVeigh, Cozzy Pickett, James Jordan, Tajwa Woden, Jacob Van Rooyen, Jake Bowie, Harrison Petty, Cade Chandler, all under 24. Like, they're all so young. We're going to have such a good, tight-knit group for many, many years to come. So let's get into the game. Kick off the first quarter, and it looks like we're doing the same sort of tactics as the week before, where Cozzy Pickett starts off in the centre bounce. And he does that for the start of each quarter. I think it's a great tactic. It means he's getting his hand on the ball pretty early and getting some touch. And he ends up with 2 goals at the end of the game, which was pretty good. We dominate the first 6 minutes or so of this game and get 3 scores. Unfortunately, it's 1-2 for the 3 scores of the game. But Jacob Van Rooyen's goal there's an absolute ripper. Beautiful drop punt. But after we get the first 3 scores, Richmond sort of turned that around and they get the next 3 scores. I found the first one, the Soldo goal, a bit weird. Like, was that not a blocking free to Max Gawn? For their last goal here through Camden McIntosh, Max Gawn goes for a mark, which he'd probably generally take, but it gets spoiled and they mop up and kick an easy goal in the goal square. You can see Jake Lever talking to Max, being like, hey, mate, probably should have punched that one. They just get on a run, and then we sort of pull that back. We were able to answer very quickly with Harrison Petty getting his first of the day, where Gawn just took the ball out of the ruck. And that was one of the first times we saw it for the day, where he did it many, many a time in the last quarter to really take us home. Shy Bolton hits the post, which is pretty lucky. He was between Dusty and Shy. They were sort of the only 2 players I felt that were really damaging against us. And thank God Shy Bolton can't kick to save his life, because when he gets bolts away, no one can really get a hold of him, but geez, he burns himself so often in games. Traka got a chance on goal. James Harms also got a chance on goal. I think James Harms had a somewhat forgettable game offensively. We cop 2 goals again in a row from Dusty and Liam Baker. They just come from some bad turnovers while we were trying to transition the ball, and Stephen May got caught between 2 players and had to sort of come up from that full-back role. Also, props to Lockie Hunter for getting the smother on this Dustin Martin goal here in the first quarter. That was some excellent play there. And then unfortunately, James Harms, another shot in this quarter, couldn't get it on the board either. Definitely had enough chances in that quarter. We kicked 3-5-23 to Richmond's 5-4-34. Tigers lead by 11. And out of all the quarters of the game, this is the only one the Tigers win. So yeah, they just got on top with a little bit of scoring accuracy here, but our accuracy just ramps up pretty much for the rest of the game. We kicked 5 points in that first quarter, and we only kicked 5 for the rest of the game, and that's including rush behinds. Yeah, I can't believe how clean we were after this quarter. It was just phenomenal. Petty gets the first goal of the second quarter, and that's his third already. He's just, full stretch mark, able to kick it through, capitalise again very, very easily with Jacob Van Rooyen. That was a result of some really great running. Kay Chandler here to be unselfish and passed it to JVR. He could have easily had a shot himself. Jake Melksham had a really smart fist on the ball to get that to Chandler as well. It was a great team goal and great work by the forwards. Shai Bolton finally got that goal after taking his third attempt. This is one that we really should have been able to get to rush over, but unfortunately with the shape of the ball, sometimes it just bounces the wrong way. Like Stephen May was in the much better position to take that ball, but just because it bounced in the worst position possible, gave them the opportunity to kick a goal then, so that was pretty opportunistic for them. Luckily, we can answer back and Jake Melksham gets his first one. And then Richmond sort of get on top of us for about 5-10 minutes. They have a few more chances on goal. They actually kicked 3 in a row here. There was a marking contest. I felt like Jake Melksham probably should have gotten a free kick in for getting pushed out. This Alex Neil-Bullen one, holding the ball. Yep, like he didn't get his fist to it, so it was definitely a free kick. The 50-metre penalty, look, it's textbook. It's a bit harsh, but it's definitely in the rules and it's there. Just a costly mistake by Richmond. And then Alex Neil-Bullen, who played a pretty good game despite having 4 really terrible turnovers where he just either handballed or kicked it directly to the opposition. But he did pick up 5 intercept possessions to kind of make up for that across the game. Put on a lot of pressure, got a lot of meters gained from his effort. And gets a goal here, able to close out that quarter with a late goal to Petrarca. And then there's an exchange of 50-metre penalties, which just piss off all the Tigers supporters. Richmond are usually pretty undisciplined when it comes to playing football and giving away free kicks, and that was definitely reined in. Free kicks were 8-2 Richmond's way, and we were able to keep up with them with only receiving those 2 free kicks / 50-metre penalties. We kicked 5 straight that quarter, so I kicked 30 points to Richmond's 4-3-27, won the quarter by 3 points, trail it by 8 points at half-time. And yeah, the Tigers fans let the umpires really know it, that they were upset, even though, they definitely had the better end of it for that first quarter. There was an easy 2 or 3 free kicks missed Melbourne's way. For that second quarter, that was actually Richmond's highest pressure quarter. They had 206 pressure points for there. We had 170. That was actually our worst. But we were still able to kick 5 goals and win the quarter, which is good. The first quarter, we put on 183 pressure points to 151, which is really, really low from Richmond. So we probably should have done a little bit better with our scoring. But I think, Harms missing those 2 easy ones instead of putting them through was really the difference there. Getting into the third quarter, Richmond do start off a little bit better than us. They're able to jump us and get the first 2 of the quarter through Dusty and Tim Taranto. Some of Dusty's kicking for the day was absolutely exquisite. It's a high-scoring first 6 minutes. Kay Chandler's snap was the one to break it up, and then Jacob Van Rooyen. Yeah, just a real bit of a flurry at the start of that quarter, and then we were able to keep Richmond goalless until right near the end, where Matthew Coulthard gets subbed on and takes a goal. But Chandler's goal was absolutely incredible. The over-the-shoulder kick just really made something out of nothing. It was a great clearance by Gawn to get the ball down in our danger area. It didn't really land in a spot to our advantage, but it was a brilliant goal anyway. We really started to get control halfway through this quarter, kicking the next 5 goals through Jacob Van Rooyen, Harrison Petty, Jake Melksham, and Jakey Melksham again. These guys combining for 14 goals straight for the game was just phenomenal and just something we don't see too often. There were some really nice leads into space from JVR where Alex Neil-Bullen kicked to his advantage for that goal. He kicked that goal as the rain was absolutely starting to pour down, and that just makes it a bit harder. But yeah, he also pulled down an absolute, it was this one, he pulled down an absolute ripper of a mark a few minutes later. Somewhere through here as well, Jack Viney got a bit of a stinger to his shoulder from Marlon Pickett, jogged over to the contest and then tried to pretty much spear a bloke before coming off for an assessment. Looked to be, in a bit of discomfort, but I hope Jack's all right. Maybe worth giving him a week off just to give that shoulder a bit of rest, because it's the 3rd or 4th time this season you've seen him clutching at it during a game, but he still doesn't have any tape on it. He doesn't have it taped up. Not sure exactly what's going on. So the sub also gets pulled during this third quarter for Adam Tomlinson. Adam Tomlinson comes off and Joel Smith comes on and goes back instead of forward, which he's done for the last couple of weeks. And I get that Adam Tomlinson wasn't amazing in this game, but he wasn't terrible either, because Richmond went a bit smaller once they made their sub with Ben Miller coming off. And Tomlinson was rotated between Miller and Rewalt, but then, once Miller got taken subbed off, it was just there wasn't really a role for him to be there. So he got subbed shortly after him, and that's where Smith came on, and that added a bit more dynamics to our back line. These couple of Melksham goals were great. The first one where he takes that mark from Petrarca on the behind line, runs around and snaps it through. And then he also had another opportunity where he didn't make the distance from 50. So he could have had a third goal in this quarter, but he makes the most out of this one. It had to be an insufficient intent free kick. Like, the guy just handballed it right over the line. He had to handball it anywhere else. And look, that's what the rule was brought into, because you can't just do that and just put it out. So Melksham makes the most of that opportunity and snaps it through, and then their sub manages to get a bit of a lucky goal and bring it back to 3 points. And there's a rush behind before the end of the quarter to make it 4 points. So we kicked 6-1-37 to the Tigers 4-1-25, won the quarter by 12, and now lead by 4 going into the fourth. And just looking a lot better at that stage. The Tigers get the first 2 of the quarter. When I watched the replay, because I went and watched the game live, but I watched the replay yesterday, when Noah Boulder hit the post, it absolutely blew my mind that, pretty much all the commentators were questioning what the rules were. Like, most of them played footy at the level. Now they're on there commentating. They're meant to be experts. They're meant to be helping the viewer watch the game, and it's good. And they're asking each other what happens if the guy hits the post while holding the ball. Like, it's been a rule that the ball hits the post and that's what matters forever. How could you be that stupid and that dumb? And how do you keep getting work if you don't know the rules? It seems like it should be the most basic thing in, like, commentating on a sport, to A, know the rules, B, know the players, and C, share that knowledge with the viewer. It's not that difficult, but for them to constantly guess what the rules are, especially easy ones like that, is absolutely pathetic from the broadcaster. Max gets poked in the eye somewhat after this, and then he becomes Mad Max. He's just absolutely had enough and has an absolutely... It's just on like Donkey Kong in this last quarter for Max Gawn. He gets 7 out of the next 11 clearances, and most of them he's just ripping them out of the ruck. And we just go bang, bang, bangity, bang, bang, bang for the rest of the game. Put on the last 6 goals in a row and cruise out to a very easy 32-point victory. It was party time for us, Dees. It was a petty party. It was just absolutely gorgeous forward craft work, and just watching everybody spread, make room for each other. I was just absolutely wrapped with this. And there was a point about 11 minutes through the quarter, I think we were only a goal up, where Max Gawn just ran back and intercept marked with about 11 minutes to go in the quarter. And I just knew we had this. Like, I just knew we had this game. We had run Richmond ragged. They were exhausted. They were gone. And Max was just back to his dominating best, just absolutely owning this game. His holding the ball tackle on Dion Prestia was absolutely beautiful work, and you just get those sort of things throughout the game that just remind you how fantastic this sport is and the energy of the game going. Harrison Petty's 6th goal here was the only one from live play. All the rest was from marks, and what a snap this one was. Kudos to Petty. He brings that bit of mongrel into the forward line, and I know I've always banged on about him being a defender. He's not just a forward, he's a footballer. He's an absolute utility footballer. You could probably throw him in the ruck as well if you really needed to. Max's call to take it out of the ruck was pretty much a match-winning move. Generally, him just ripping it out and kicking it forward and getting those clearances just really put the pressure on Richmond to be reactive. And that was pretty much the difference in the game. Cozzy gets 2 goals at the end. It's nice for him to get that towards the end after running all day. He did a lot of good defensive stuff, but not really his day until that time. His free kick pretty much in the goal square, all the Tigers fans around me lost their minds because they thought that he had hit the Richmond player high, Broad. But he actually got nowhere near him. Broad puts his arm up to block, and Cozzy grabs here and tackles him perfectly. It is an unreal tackle. It was one of the highlights of watching the replay, was seeing how good that tackle was. And with the amount of whinging from the Richmond fans and the umpires, every single free kick in that last quarter is legit. Every single one is to the book, and they did not have a bad call. You could say the 50 meter against A and B was rough, but geez, when it comes down to it, it was a fantastically umpired game. We were just the better team on the day. We came out and beat them. Yeah, loving Max and what he's doing since Grundy's gone out. Track, I love what we can do with him. I love him being forward and just how dangerous our forward line feels with him there. And then when we are getting, beaten or a little bit on top of, which is, what happened with Richmond having a couple of runs, they had 3 or 4 runs of 2 goals in a row. We can just throw Christian in there and he makes a difference. Absolutely makes a difference. Judd McVee is the absolute find of the year for us, I think. He is a time lord. Time slows down around him. He is elite with his kicking. He hits targets. He makes the right decisions all the time. And he played on Liam Baker and Dusty on different times. And yeah, I know Dusty got 3 goals too. But Dusty's Dusty. He's one of the best players we've ever seen. I felt like the first half was a little bit more of a Richmond chaos game, and then the second half was a little bit more of a Dees contest game. And by the time we got it to being a Dees contest game and how Max had run Soldo around all day, we broke him. Absolutely broke him. We didn't just get the job done here. We smashed them. Like, they were desperate to win this game to stay in touch for finals. And we had a 52-point turnaround in this. Just absolutely unreal. In terms of pressure for the last 2 quarters, the third quarter was pretty even, 188 to 190, with us being the 188. And then the fourth quarter, we beat them 187 to 176. Jack Viney, Angus Brayshaw, Alex Neil-Bullen, top 3 in pressure acts and pressure points. Generally for the game, we dominated time in forward half, especially in that last quarter, 76% in our forward half. Across the match, 61% to 39%. Kicked 4 goals, 1, 25 from centre bounce, 8 goals, 3, 51 from stoppage, and then 8 goals, 6, 54 from turnover. We did get punished a little bit from stoppage and turnover by the Tigers, them kicking 7 goals, 1, 43 from stoppage, and 6 goals, 4 from turnover. Max Gawn, Jack Viney, Angus Brayshaw, and Christian Petrarca spent the most time in the centre bounce attendances. Christian Petrarca definitely doing a lot more in that second half. Max Gawn attended 92 ruck contests and had 12 direct hit outs to advantage out of the 40 that he got. Better disposal efficiency, kicking efficiency, metres gained, smashed Richmond in inside 50s, 73 to 45, had 9 more shots at goal. And then, the rest of the stats are pretty even. They're sort of within 5 or 6, except for marks inside 50 where we were plus 10 and tackles inside 50 where we were plus 14. Let's get into the coaches' votes. All right, so the coaches' votes saw it like this, with both coaches pretty much having the exact same votes. So that splits up like this. And then when we get into my votes, I would have found it very, very difficult not to give a player who kicks 4 goals a vote. So JVR and gets the 1 vote from me. Gave 2 votes to Jake Melksham for his 4 goals, some of them from very difficult angles, and then just the job he did. He absolutely beat Grimes in the back line. Gave 3 votes to Judd McVee. He was absolutely critical when Richmond were getting a bit of a run on. He got some really, really crucial intercepts, hit some really, really hard kicks, and was really impressive against some of Richmond's better players for the game. Gave Trent Rivers the 4 votes. I thought he was best on ground in the first half. His run and dash was the difference in keeping us in it. Gave 5 votes to Harrison Petty for his Neats-like performance, 6 goals, clunking marks. And he was just absolutely fantastic. But I had to give the 6 votes to Max Gawn, who played 100% game time in that last quarter and absolutely dominated. His second half was fantastic. He had 23 disposals, 22 hit-outs, 17 contested possessions, 9 clearances, 379 metres gained, 7 inside 50s and 7 score involvements. Unlucky not to get a goal towards the end there. But, just Max was absolutely fantastic. Onto the VFL now, and unfortunately the Casey Demons fell short by a point. As you can see from the worm, they were really, really behind the 8 ball. Early in the match, just the wind down at Casey was absolutely freaking terrible. The Seagulls were able to get 6 goals on the board before we were able to even kick our first right towards the end of that quarter. But you can see Williamstown didn't score in that second quarter, and we were able to get 4 goals on the board to sort of bring it back to an even game. But when the conditions are sort of, just absolutely yuck and doing that to a game, there's not much you can do. Williamstown are coached by Jason Plapp. He's been there since 2020. He was an assistant at Melbourne prior to and previously coached at Casey 2015 to the 2017 season. But just some notes from this game. Basically, Michael Hibberd was probably best on ground. He's an absolute class above the rest. He was probably the only one sort of really worthy for a call-up, I think. He had 32 disposals and 5 marks. Ben Brown, not really existent on the field and came off with some sort of leg injury, so that wasn't great. Spargo only did a half, I'm pretty sure. I think he was left as a second emergency for us in the game on the Sunday. Grundy had a very average day in difficult wind conditions. There wasn't too much he could do. But when he was in the ruck, he absolutely dominated. And Dunstan, gathered his 35-ish disposals. And, he was okay as well, but he really just don't see him being much of an option at this point. He just doesn't seem to be, being selected by the coaches. So they're opting for a Harms over him instead. Here we are with the ladder, even on points with Brisbane, only 1 game behind Port Adelaide. And who'd have thought it, eh? Who'd have thought that Port Adelaide would drop 3 games in a row and Brisbane would drop 2 out of their last 3 to open it up like this? I was pretty much resigning myself to the fact that we would just sit into 4th and have to play Collingwood at the MCG in round 1, but who knows what Dockers are going to rock up against Brisbane this week, but we're on the same point, so hopefully we just beat North Melbourne by more and get more percentage here. Hopefully Geelong can get the job done against Port Adelaide, especially now that they're missing those 2 players after absolutely stuffing up their concussion protocols and things like that. They're going to end up with a huge fine, and that fine's going to have to go into the soft cap, so that means that someone will be losing their job at the club. They have to fit those fines into their soft cap, so if it's anywhere near $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, that means, someone probably from the media department's getting pushed out or something like that. So that absolutely sucks for them. You can't stuff things up like that. The AFL's not going to tolerate that sort of thing. But it looks like the wheels are falling off at Port Adelaide at the moment, which, unfortunate for their fans, but that means that that second spot is ripe for the taking. We've got, games against North, Carlton, Hawthorn and Sydney, and I think we should get 3 of those. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of Yeah The Dees. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next week.
Petrarca! Oh, wow! How good is that?
Sparrow to make it a 3-goal, 3-pointer nightmare. He's got it!
Surely not another one. Handball to Oliver. Streaming through. Bang! Bang, bang, bang!
Melbourne are the premiers for 2021!
And it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.